streaming giant Netflix have cancelled over a dozen shows so far this year. Yet somehow with love, Meghan survived the cull and is back for season 2. Despite being derided by critics and failing to make the top 300 shows on the platform, some executive somewhere decided the world needed more of Meghan Markle's dried fruit and flower crafts in it. I was not a fan of the first series and tuned in with trepidation to season 2, hoping at the very least Meghan had taken all the, very valid, criticism on board and made adjustments. Sadly, the Duchess of Delusion seems to have decided she has a tried and tested formula, so if it ain't broken don't fix it. As a result, we get more visits from her celebrity friends as she cooks questionable dishes and forces them to do arts and crafts with her as if they are a 12-year-old in summer camp. Actually, I don't remember any summer camp involving as much arts and crafts as a visit to Meghan's home. Which isn't actually her home but a property rented for filming purposes. Among the celebrity guests appearing on the show are Queer Eye star Anne France and model Chrissy Teigen, as well as podcaster Jay Shetty, World Central Kitchen founder Jose Andres and author and life coach Jay Shetty. If you thought her interactions on the first series were sycophantic, then brace yourself, she has taken her faux flatter and cringe chatter to the next level. She gushes over her guests, desperately waiting on them to reciprocate so she can pretend to be modest and surprised by their remarks. She frequently references the fact she calls Prince Harry that infuriates me more than it should, but it completely grinds my gears, telling Tan France how he said I love you first. She is visibly smug-looking as she says it, but Tan exclaims she is blushing. Clearly blushing is Californian slang for smug. She also waxes lyrical about being a mom, claiming she used to save up so she could buy a proper diaper bag to accompany her doll when she was a child, as she always wanted to be a mother. She exclaims it is even better than she imagined, which I'm sure it is when you are living in an $11 million mansion with help and not worrying about the cost of childcare eating into your food budget. Then there are the recipes and crafts, which you can use a QR code on screen to access. In her rented kitchen she uses completely impractical brand new white pots. I cannot stress enough that you should not take inspo from this if you actually plan on using them for cooking, as they will not remain crisp white for long with day-to-day use. Among her creations is an apple butter, or as normal sane people call it, an apple sauce. It is one of the easiest things in the world to create. Mothers have been making it for babies for centuries, but she treats it as if she is recreating a Heston Blumenthal recipe. She puts a chicken in the oven for an hour, which is salmonella waiting to happen, as the chicken in question clearly needed longer to cook. She makes what she calls a lavender Earl latte. It is Earl Grey tea mixed with foamy milk which she has infused with lavender and honey, and it truly sounds vile, although Tan France seemed to like it. She uses frozen pastry for her apple pie, probably in an attempt to seem breezy, but the fact she will waste time dishing out homemade rose water by boiling up dried roses in distilled water somewhat negates this. Despite a lawsuit, she is also still chucking around essential oils with no safety warnings or guidance. She also makes her guests join her in fun activities. She decorates aprons for their children with Tan France and makes TV chef Samin Nosrat join her in bookbinding, a skill I have never needed in my life. The only thing I've ever needed bound was my thesis, which I sent to a professional like every other person in the world. Don't even get me started on the homemade soap. Why would you ask visitors to make that with you, even if you were so inclined to do it when you are alone? My biggest takeaway from this show is that it is too much work to be a guest in Meghan's rented home. And it is too much work to host like her. Her recipes and tips do not elevate your hosting. If anything, they are the sort of thing I would have learned how to do in Girl Guides. I don't think anyone watching believes she breezily engages in these arts and crafts outside of the show, and she comes across as affected and entitled rather than down to earth and relatable. If Netflix inflict a season 3 on us, I want to see her do it from a council house with real people, using the family's store cupboard ingredients and the things available in their garden topped up by their weekly food budget, and see how well she manages. She wouldn't.